We talk a lot about the problem of lack of security, but insecurity is almost always an effect of inauthenticity. We can't trust the identities of users. We can't trust the authenticity of sites and servers and client devices and client software. We want to create an infrastructure that provides spaces that are free of malware, fraud, predation, and spam, spaces that provide a measure of reliability and integrity. There's a very old term for that condition. It's called quiet enjoyment. Perhaps someone here recognizes where that term comes from. I know we have a lot of lawyers here. Well, we've been tipped off anyway. It comes from real estate. That's right, it's a real estate term. Quiet enjoyment is what your landlord owes you, the tenant, in good standing. Quiet enjoyment means a place where you can work or live in security, peace, and quiet, free from intrusion. It means, for instance, that you have a right to expect that anonymous fraudsters and criminals will not wander through your office, tricking your employees into revealing customer information and trade secrets. Quiet enjoyment means you can be confident there are no secret passages into your home or office. Quiet enjoyment means that the school or home or community center where your kids hang out is not accessible to a middle-aged male predator who easily masquerades as a 10-year-old girl. So where do we find quiet enjoyment? For one example, we find quiet enjoyment right here in this building, or any building that carries an occupancy permit anywhere in the world. Where do we not find quiet enjoyment? Well, legally speaking, we find no quiet enjoyment outdoors. Outdoors on, let's say, a physical highway, a rest area beside a busy highway, or a rest area beside an information highway, or on the information highway. On that outdoor public transport facility that we seem to be treating as a trustable meeting space. We're here because the world's information infrastructure, the information highway and its outdoor rest areas known as subnetworks and social networks, the whole thing is one big slum without the concept of building codes and occupancy permits and professional licensing. It's full of fraud and predation, and it's getting worse, as we all know. Now, the information highway does its job well. It performs the function of an outdoor public transport facility. Tony Rutkowski has been calling our attention to the excellent quality of highway engineering that went into the OSI work, and some of the OSI work that Tony speaks of is also useful in that which highways bring us to. That is, buildings. That is, places of quiet enjoyment. One chooses to be indoors. One gets indoors from outdoors. Indoors is not a discriminatory space in the sense that we use it when we talk about the internet. Indoors is simply an alternative to the exposure to the unprotected outdoors. After OSI, the next big step toward quiet enjoyment took place in 2002. In my view, it was the very first attempt to put a very remarkable set of construction materials to use to build reliable indoor spaces. The set of construction materials is PKI. The effort to use this remarkable PKI building material properly was called the World eTrust Initiative, created by our own Alex Ntoko and Hamadou Touré. The World eTrust Initiative, a world PKI space, was ahead of its time. Back then, people still believed that security could be obtained by determining the intentions of senders of packets. Some people still do. 3 additional steps will bring quiet enjoyment to our world's information infrastructure. A total of 5 steps will deliver reliable online indoor spaces. First, we know that one of the main components of the PKI construction material is the key pair. A key pair should be bound to the identity of a human being. With modern enrollment practices, we can have identities with quality and cost that is appropriate to the indoor space in which they'll be used. Some indoor spaces are more demanding than others. But wait, who says that an identity belongs to a particular person? The answer to that question is the same as the answer to the other questions. Who writes the building codes by which the quality of a building is judged? Who determines the professional licensing standards of the architects and contractors and building inspectors whose professional livelihoods are at stake when their signatures are on the occupancy permit? The answer to all these questions is the same. The answer is what I call DCPA, or duly constituted public authority. And I'm not talking about government. I'm talking about authority, public authority, not government closer to state authority. It's a distinction that is very important and has really been washed away in recent times. Duly constituted public authority is the foundation of the remaining three items that will bring quiet enjoyment to the world. The Vital Records Department of an online city hall should attest to your digital identity by means of your X509 digital birth certificate. And City Hall or some other agency of state issues professional licenses, such as Tony's Trusted Service Provider license. Maybe I'm stretching Tony's concept a bit here, but that's the way I interpret it. In our case, the building inspector is a code auditor who happens to apply the weight of public authority to what he does. If a digital signature proves to be unsound, digital structure proves to be unsound, its architect or builder or building inspector stands to lose his or her livelihood because it's not a certification from some commercial enterprise, it's a certification from public authority. If you lose that license, you cannot practice that profession. It's an important distinction. Because there's only one city hall, one issuer of professional licenses. Now, where do we find worldwide duly constituted public authority that is appropriate to this job? Where else but in that public entity that has been applying public authority to digital communications since 1865? It's the ITU, of course. The city of Osmio was founded right here in this building at ITU headquarters on March 5th, 2005. Will Osmio be City Hall to places like Second Life and World of Warcraft and business networks, to the GIGS network of the U.S. government, other overlay networks? I think it can be. So visit the City Hall at osmio.org, osmio.org. Osmio is the Italian word for osmium. There's a story behind it. I won't bother you with that. To see how the city of the future will deliver authenticity, the basis of quiet enjoyment, to our online spaces. Perhaps one day it will be osmio.int. When that happens, you'll know that the ITU has accepted jurisdiction over our fair city of Osmio, providing a city hall to the world.